This is Coach Renee, Mike Renee at Noble Academy. NobleKnights.gg is our website. Thanks for tuning into this video. This is another video in our Scholastic Esports 101 video series where we're looking at different topics and trends in the Scholastic Esports arena, in particular for new coaches or coaches that are maybe coached other sports before but have been voluntold or maybe volunteered themselves to coach your Scholastic Esports team. And so we really focus in this video series on how things might be slightly different from professional esports or even collegiate esports. We really are focusing here on Scholastic Esports. So I'm a high school educator, coach our esports team here at Noble Academy. Again, our website is nobleknights.gg, and I'll show you that here in a second to learn more about us. But this particular video is going to be all about combating negative perceptions about video games, but particular esports in general, because I do think there's a difference between video games and esports, and we'll get into that in a bit. But one of the number one questions I often get, besides the technical, how do I set up esports lab? How do I get the equipment? How do I get administrative buy-in? Those things are all important. But one of the biggest buy-ins you need to think about are your parents, right? And certainly the students are excited by esports, but rightly so. Sometimes parents can be a little hesitant and have a lot of questions. Maybe not even hesitant, but just have a lot of questions before they allow their child to commit. I'm a parent myself. I have a middle school student, and so these are things that I think about both as an educator and as a parent as well. So let's take a look at some of these topics, and then we'll kind of dive in to some specific links here. So again, my name is Coach Renee, Mike Renee, and you can find more about our esports team at nobleknights.gg. I should also say this slideshow, so if you're watching the YouTube video, I will put this slideshow up on our website as well, that'll have some of the links that I go over today. So one of the first things I want to show you is a couple organizations. One of the best organizations, I think, for Scholastic Esports is NASEF, the North American Scholastic Esports Federation. I believe it's a nonprofit, but it's a nonprofit group or an organization dedicated to helping esports grow, particularly high school, but they're even looking at middle school and elementary school as well. And they have a lot of great resources on their website here. But one of the sections I really like is the resources for parents and guardians, where it goes into a little bit of detail about, what esports means for students and how it can be so impactful. Again, this is probably a good time to bring it up. I really want to emphasize the difference between esports and video games. Kind of the negative perception of video games often taints the power of esports, right? So our negative perception of video games often thinks somebody sitting in their bedroom all by themselves with their headset on, not interacting with the world. And yes, like any kind of stereotype, there is some truth to that, unfortunately. But more and more, and I think particularly with younger and younger students, video games and esports in particular can be a great social activity for kids. Instead of those students sitting in their bedroom by themselves, in esports, they're playing on a team. They're playing with their classmates. They're playing with their peers. And that's so important. They're learning those soft skills of teamwork and communication and how to solve problems with other people and those types of things, right? That are so important that we want to be teaching as educators, and esports is just another vehicle to do that. So really, when you're having those conversations, if you're a new coach, think about that and really help your parents, the parents you work with, differentiate between video games and esports. I know, like, if you just watch the media and stuff, it often gets all lumped together, but I would argue there's a huge difference. And so NASEF is a good place to go to get some of that data and some of that research. I'll show you a couple other resources as well, but I can't recommend this more. I do believe you have to pay, I think, to be I know you can get some free stuff, so I believe I'm a free member, and I've always looked at maybe supporting them a little more, but there are a lot of stuff you can get on their website for free, and then I think if you pay a subscription, you get access to some more material. Even I think they do coaching training and stuff as well. So that's a good website to check out. And again, all these links will be in our slideshow that'll be on nobleknights.gg, our esports websites for Noble Academy. Also on NASEF's website, this is a good thing to show to parents, and if you're a teacher trying to convince your administration that esports is something you should bring to your school. I like this esports ecosystem because there are so many more things that go into esports than just playing the video games. Yes, the video games are the central piece of it, and it's often the hook that brings the students in. But as you can see here from this picture, there's lots of other careers interests, jobs, things that can go around esports. So when you're having those conversations, bring these up and say, hey, these are some things that students could do if they're interested in esports. Are they going to be a professional video game esports player? Probably not. Just like the students on the basketball team or the baseball team or the volleyball team probably aren't going to be professionals in that sport. They're going to be professionals in something else, right? And so this is some of the areas where they could be professionals. And this list is only growing as esports continues to grow outside of the Scholastic area. The Scholastic opportunities will only increase as well. So again, some great research, some videos. They go into a lot of detail about what is a content creator, right? Entrepreneurs, organizers. So particularly if you're a teacher and you're wanting to do some activities with your students, this is a great resource to use. So again, link will be in the slideshow that'll be shared on the website. A couple other organizations I want to talk about. Garden State Esports. So some of you might be watching this and then you're from the Garden State. Garden State Esports is the statewide organization for the state of New Jersey. And they have a whole statewide league. And they've spent years, at this point, I think, years developing a program and curriculum and all sorts of different activities. So I can't highly recommend Garden State Esports enough. I apologize, my internet's a little slow here, and so things aren't quite loading up. But if you go to the curricula link, they have a whole curricula that they've designed as well. And so this is a great place to go and look at if you're looking to add curricula to your classroom, or just, again, something that you're talking to parents or administrators about, why esports isn't just playing video games and sitting alone and that type of thing, right? So they have a curriculum that's designed around SEL, social and emotional learning, and also one designed around CTE, career and technical education. So just a lot of great resources to check out with Garden State Esports as well. Another great resource is, I believe her name is Dr. Rachel Cowart. She's a researcher that focuses a lot on the social impact of games. And so her website is rcowart.com. But again, I will put these links in the chat, or sorry, not in the chat, in the, I was just streaming yesterday. I will put the links in the slideshow. And so you'll have access to these. But she has some great videos. She's an academic, so she really brings some weight to her arguments and spends a lot of time thinking about, games and unintentional learning, right? Like, that's such a great topic. There's a lot of things kids are learning they don't even really realize when they're playing games, right? Video games and moral panic, like violent video games, gaming disorder. She just does a really good job, again, not sensationalized, not over the top, just does a really good job of breaking down what video games, what the benefits are. She does talk about some of the negative sides and how we can, mitigate some of those as well. Because again, I don't want to be all rose-colored glasses here. I mean, there are things, right? If students are spending all their time playing video games, then yes, of course, just like any activity that we would, want our students and our children to not spend all their time on, right? So there are some negative sides of it, but what I'm really trying to focus on in this presentation is trying to combat a lot of the negative perceptions, because there are certainly a lot of negative perceptions. Here's a great article I just found from the National Library of Medicine, NIH, National Institutes of Health, studying esports in South Korea. So if you didn't know, South Korea, esports there has been huge for decades now. They kind of really, I would argue, popularized esports as an official sport. And so there's been a lot of research in South Korea. Some that's in favor of esports, and I'll be honest, some that, kind of looks negatively on it as well. So, you want to read everything and be informed. But this is a great article that I found very useful about kind of esports and some of the studies they've looked at, where they've looked at physical health, mental health, hobbies, and that type of thing. So another great resource to look at. And then finally, I think that's all the links. I just want to show you our website here too, and I'll leave it on here as we kind of wrap up. I want to try to keep this under 10 minutes, but really have those conversations with parents. Listen to parents. They're going to, probably the first thing that comes out of their mouth might be something negative, and don't. One of the mistakes I think I made is I kind of try to jump on them right away and say, oh, no, but. One of the things you do is you just need to listen to parents and talk to them and say, hey, look, this is, at our school, esports is a sport. There's coaching, there's peer relationships, there's mentoring. There's all these great things that go on with the sport side of esports. So really focus not so much on the E for video games or electronic, but the sport side, right? Because I can't think of too many parents that think sports are a bad thing for their kid. I'm sure there's probably some, right? But you know what I'm saying, right? Like you're not going to have too many arguments there. But then the next kind of hurdle you have to get over is, well, how is it a sport? I don't see the kid running around. I don't see them, making a sweat there out on the basketball court or on the volleyball court, right? So how is it a sport? So you're going to talk about those soft skills. You're going to talk about what employers are looking for from our high school graduates. They're looking for students that can communicate, that can problem solve, that can work together as a team, that have some technical skills, right? We haven't even really mentioned that side of thing, but the whole technical side of setting up the equipment, and if you're doing streaming and shoutcasting, all the stuff that goes into video production and all that, there are so many benefits, right? It's very easy to focus on the negative sides and the stereotypes, and people will do that, and we all that's just kind of human nature, where we often fall back to kind of those negative thoughts, right? It's just kind of a survival thing. But I really encourage you, if you're starting a program or if you've started and you're getting it off the ground, have these conversations with parents and be mindful of their opinions, because esports is going to be new for pretty much everybody. It's probably new to you as a coach as well. So I hope these resources will help for you. Again, if you're watching the YouTube video, this slideshow and these links will be on our website, which is right here, nobleknights.gg. Again, that's nobleknights.gg. And I appreciate you listening. Stay tuned for more videos. We have another video on the playlist about esports terms. So if you're looking to understand some of the lingo students are using when they talk about BM, or they talk about griefing, or any of those kind of terms you might hear your students use, I made a video about 30 different esports terms that you might need to know as a coach. And stay tuned for more videos on the channel. All right, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Take care. Bye-bye.